Hey, everyone. How's it going? What are you up to? It's your girl, Deborah the Queen, the host of Light the Path podcast. I'm so glad you're here and you're in for another good episode. I know I say that every time, but it's true. Make sure you subscribe on all audio platforms, on social media, and also right here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you will. You're not going to get inundated with ding, 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 but you will be notified every time there is a new episode. Look, I gotta thank my sister cuz for this one. My sister cuz Rashonda Marie invited me to a author event over there in Detroit. My first time in Detroit. Can y'all believe that? Man, it was such a good time. I had to ask the coordinator to come on and talk about the expo. So listen, let me introduce you to Dion Johnson, who coordinated everything. Let me give you his bio, because this right here, Dion is a proud and faithful member of the Empowerment Church. Listen, the campus is beautiful. It was such a good time. It's such a beautiful campus. The pastor, the staff, everything was done in such excellence. I'm like, ooh, I was thoroughly impressed. Dion is a member there. It's in Southfield, Michigan, where he serves on the Social Justice and Usher Board Ministries. Y'all got a social justice committee at y'all church? I'm just asking. Okay, they do at the Empowerment Church, and he's a member of the NAACP, a member of the Michigan Library Association, and member of the Friends of the Southfield Public Library. Yeah, he into the books, okay? Listen, like Pathfinders, help me welcome Dion Johnson to Light the
Good
Path.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Queen?
Hello. I am well. Thank you so much for doing this. You and my sister cuz, we affectionately call each other sister cuz. Y'all met each other at another event that y'all were at a book event, and you invited her to this one, and she invited me.
Yes, ma'am.
And so
Yes.
the love was just spread all around. So I was just impressed. I mean, from the VIP badges to the food. It was just a good time to the church service. Okay, it was just a beautiful time. So, what inspired you to create the Juneteenth Arthur event?
Well, actually, before COVID, Pastor Student and I were talking about having a book event, and that was actually before I was an author. But I don't know how many. I think he wrote 13 books, 14 books. I lost count how many books he's written, but he and I were talking about that because we have other members in the congregation who are authors. I said, man, it'd be really nice if we have a authors day and this kind. You guys show your works and talk about your book. And he's like, yeah, that'd be really good. So it was something that has been brewing for a while. And then of course during COVID, I had the bug to write while we were all sitting home relaxing, and then when we came back into I guess normal days, if you will, then him and I had a little sidebar. I said, hey, we should really look into doing that. And he said, you know what, let's do it. So here we are. How many years ago was that? 2020. So here we go 5 years later. But I'm so happy that it came together. It was an amazing event, and he was so proud. And so yeah, it was a beautiful experience. But yeah, Pastor and I had a vision, like I said, about 7 years ago.
Wow, that is so good. Now, how did you select the authors? Because it was so many. Like I was there with my book, but I was also there as a consumer, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I want to have this person on my podcast. I want to have this. I totally lost focus. I was away from my table. How did you select all these wonderful authors?
No, I love that because me being a newbie into the game, I wanted to do something that's kind of totally different, right? So when I met Rashonda in Detroit at the event, that wasn't the first time I was at the event, but nevertheless, it was so much stuff happening during that event. They had a marching band coming through and kids face painting and people singing and dancing, and it was just really, really kind of off the chart when it came to this. The authors having their own personal time with the audience and with the consumers, and I thought that was kind of weird for me because as a library kid growing up, I said, you know what, I need to have an event where authors can come in and be able to tell their story, but then be uninterrupted. Them in the audience and sharing their testimonies, and so that was my vision. And so everybody was very extremely happy about that, because they said this is the first time we ever been to an event like this where we can really kind of talk to people and interact with all the other authors in a more relaxed setting. And then they were happy about the safe space. They said, it's a safe space. It's at the church, because most events are either outside or some kind of community center, and you never see any kind of security, and that was one thing. I wanted people to feel safe, and so our security was there, of course, those that were recognizable and those who weren't. But I just want to create a safe space, and then for people to let God to kind of pour into them and tell their story. So that's how that came about. And so with your cousin, I think I was really particular with her and others because it's all about content. There was other authors there, but their content wasn't conducive with what I was trying to do there at the church. And as you know, 25 authors in one space is always amazing. So I agree with you. I was the same kind of way. I was a kid in a candy store. I can hardly stay at my table because I was in other people's stuff, and a lot of people I was just meeting like yourself for the first time. So it was a great event. It really was.
It was really a great event, and I couldn't believe it was y'all's first time. I mean, and y'all were even. I mean, and I mean, I'm just talking about from my experience, okay,
Yeah.
from the Black church. Listen, they passed the mic. They let everybody say something about their table, but whatever they want to say, it was a beautiful. Nobody did, take it too long. It was just everything was done so well. I just had to learn more. I'm like, and more people need to know about it. So look, let's go back a little bit
Yeah.
to 2020 when
Mm-hmm.
you wrote your book. Tell us more about it and tell us the name of it.
Okay, my book is called Revolutionary Vision Boulevard, and actually, I spoke to God about writing a book about my career. You might not know this, but I got 34 years of barbering business, and so I've been in barbering business for 34 years, and so I really wanted to highlight those books. So it'll be a series of books about my career. But God said, you know what, you should start from the beginning. You should start from the
Mm.
beginning of how everything started. Your life and friends and whatnot. So the book is basically talking about me growing up in a suburb in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, here in Oakland County. And it talks about 18 families on the street. And out of those 18 families, 16 were Black, one was white, and one was Latino. But it talks about how, as kids, we all got along and we played together, and it was like one big family. But it also tells you, too, about the blueprint of how we lost our family way when we eat together, pray together, look out for one another, respecting your elders. And so for me, I felt like this was a good time to release that, because as a race, we're kind of losing that. And not just a Black race, this is a human race. We're losing those principles that we had growing up. And I really, wanted to engage a lot of my neighbors and friends who grew up with me too, so they had a say in the book. And so that was really special to me, because I learned some things along the way, especially from the older kids on the street, because they went through the whole civil rights movement, and so they really got a lot of pushback when Dr. King was assassinated and Malcolm X was assassinated. They went through a lot of terrible times. And so me growing up in the 70s, I didn't know anything about that. And so the book inspired me to write about that as well, but then also to write about the difficulties that we had growing up in a predominantly white area, but yet happy that to show that just because we were different doesn't mean that we can how can I put this just be ill will towards somebody because of the color of their skin or because they look different. I've always pushed about multicultural things and events and try to just include everybody. So for me, the book shows that, and it gives you a backdrop of my way I was raised and growing up and whatnot, but then also just about what we went through as a community as we navigated through all that civil rights movement and then and beyond. So yeah, so it was a powerful book. I'm happy that I was able to use a lot of illustrations, because most people who've read my book already say, "Oh man, I read it about 5, 6 times," because the illustrations give you a feel of you growing up on that street. Because the illustrations start from when we were kids and teenage years until now, and a lot of us old, gray, and fat or whatever. So, but it gives you like you grew up. It's like a family yearbook on steroids, as I call it. So, but it's a beautiful book. It's a labor of love. It's really a labor of
Mm.
love. Yes.
Yes, I saw it. I was able to take a picture. And listen, Pathfinders, you will be able to get it also. I'm going to put in the description how to also purchase Dion's book. So don't worry. Don't think that, we're only talking about the author, the empowerment event. We're also going to let you get the book too. I know y'all want to get it now because it's a yearbook. Everybody like, what? I
Yeah.
want to see more. The illustration, that's very catchy. And I thought that was a very good idea. So being an author and the coordinator of this event, how does your personal journey as a writer influence and shape the way you presented the Juneteenth event?
Well, it's so interesting. So, when you're a youngster, you're trying to find your niche in life. And so in middle school and high school, I was in the school newspaper. I was a beat reporter. So that was kind of cool. And I kind of took that on. And then I was, of course, in the yearbook as well. And so when I graduated high school, still trying to find myself, I started writing for a local magazine called the Pontiac Progressor.
Okay.
And so that was kind of cool because I was doing covering hair shows and different things in the community with the youth and church events and whatnot. And so I had that bug of writing. My mother was an educator, and so she's always kind of pushed me to, whenever you write, you make sure that the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. And so many school papers have had a lot of red ink on there from mom, but nevertheless, it molded me for this book. Her and my father and my lineage, my ancestors are no longer here, but I know they'd be really proud to know that I wrote a book. She'd probably be floored, but nevertheless, so it inspired me to do something for those writers that just have a say. And so with that, I've always been a good party planner. Family and friends always ask me to plan stuff and everything. So when the church and I talked about it, and I told them what my vision was, they were like, whoa, we never had nothing like that. I said, yeah, it's about Black excellence. Mom and grandma and grandpa preach Black excellence, dad preach Black excellence. And so I wanted to just roll that out, wanted to roll out where the authors felt, important, which they should. And so that's how it all came together. The guy gave me this vision, and I roll with it.
And that's so good. We have to
Yeah.
take those ideas and go ahead and do it. I mean, and this I can imagine being on staff and like, say what you want to do, Brother Dion. Because it was massive, it was huge, it was done with excellence. I mean, I'm repeating myself, but I just was in awe, inspired about how it was because I've also, like you, been to other expos and there's a lot of other stuff going on, but this was really catering to the authors, and I thought that was very grand of you all to do it that way.
Thank you. Thank you.
So why do you think, or why do you believe literature is such a powerful tool in commemorating Juneteenth?
Well, so as history shows, back in the day when slavery was around, we weren't able to read books, right? We were able to read and write. It was against the law, get punished or get hung to do that. Here we are in 2025, and we look at about how many people are having issues, struggling to read. And we got this whole thing with this AI stuff going on and things being read for us, or audiobooks and stuff like that. But the power of reading is instrumental. So for me, I felt like we're going to pay homage to our ancestors, of course, for Juneteenth, but also pay homage to them and say, hey, look what we're doing now. I think that a lot of those people who lost their lives trying to read and get caught reading are probably say go for it, brothers and sisters, because at the end of the day, they lost their lives for that. And so for me, it's really powerful that we continue to do that. We continue to write our stories, no matter if they're through literature or documentaries or through film. to tell our stories. We're living in a time right now where you got this orange hair guy in the White House trying to eliminate Black history. And so for us, we need to, move that needle forward.
Yes. So, how do you envision the future of this event? How will it evolve? Will you do it again?
Well, so during my church debriefing, uh, we had a great conversation, and during that time, I rolled out 3 events for them, and they were all like, "Well, so so yes, there's 3 events on the calendar in the next 6 months for the church. Each one has their own uniqueness, and I'm excited about that. The first one will be in November 30th. Is during our youth explosion Sunday, and I'm going to have a host of featured Christian authors and who write Christian books for children and the youth and young adults. So that's would be really powerful. So everything's really geared towards the youth and young adults. We're planning to have about hopefully around a good, I don't know, 150, 200 youth, different youth groups and churches and whatnot coming in for that. So just wanted to do that too. Wanted to inspire the youth too. There's a lot of youth out here who, they see some of the stuff with social media and things that nature and podcasting and stuff like that and being influencers. But I tell them, sometimes you got to start from scratch. Let's write a book, because a book can evolve into something else. And so I'm hoping that this event will do that. It will kind of plant a seed for those kids who are interested in writing a book, and then be able to talk to those authors about how to get started. I'm actually in the process of working with a 10-year-old little fella who wants to write a book. So him and I are in the process of doing that, and I'm really excited about that project. So it's many other events. I'm not gonna drop all the nuggets, but when you go to my website, you'll be able to see the schedule of events. Each event's gonna be different, have its own uniqueness, and I think that's the excitement for me, is that I really don't know any other people or any other authors or events are doing that, having such a array of different things, kind of like a smorgasbord, right? When you go to
Yeah.
Baskin Robbins, you get 31 flavors, so I'm gonna do 31 flavors of events, and so just to have everybody have his own uniqueness.
Yes. So, will the Juneteenth, is it back on the docket for next year?
It
Or
is.
we got to wait?
No. So Juneteenth is back on the docket.
Okay.
Um, but I have a little extra spin to it.
Okay.
And I'll drop a little nugget about how, they always say that the Black man is absent from things. We have a powerful men's ministry at our church. And I had the idea, and I said, and I do it by the church, and they were like, "Oh, and we can't wait." So so I was excited about it, because once again, God put on my spirit. We talk about this thing like the unicorn, right, or pink elephant or whatever. And I said, "Well, can you envision 25 brothers in the room?" They're like, "25
Can't.
Black male authors?"
Ooh.
So everybody, "What?"
How can I
So
support?
so
Tell me
you
the
so,
day
yeah,
again.
so you definitely be invited to that. So I know, because all the ladies were like, what? Like, wait a
I
minute. So
know. All the single Christian ladies be like, where the
yeah,
brothers at? Where the brothers?
so so I'm working on that. I'm working on that as we speak, and so I'm excited about that. I think that would be just monumental. Yeah,
It
black
will be.
brothers.
It
Yeah,
will be. Godspeed to it all. I am so thankful that we encountered to more things, right? How I can
yeah.
inject myself even from here, being in South Carolina. I have family in the Detroit area. So, hey, it's nothing for me to come and pop in on 25 Black men.
Yeah,
Believe us.
yeah.
Now, see, y'all don't come just for that. Y'all come and support and hear the literature.
Amen. Amen.
I'm teasing. But look, Dion, thank you so much for your time and attention to this. Where can people connect with you on social media?
So right now, I actually have a huge social media team and putting together all that stuff right now for handles. I'm just on my LinkedIn page, and I'm just on my web page, which is www.dionajohnson.com. So people can go there and you order the book, and you can see different videos and different things I've done, and then you can also see all of the upcoming events down the road, and yeah, so soon all the other handles will be there. I'm old school, as my kids would say. I'm old school.
There's
So
nothing
so
wrong with
yeah,
that. Nothing wrong
yeah.
with that. Look, Pathfinders, I'm going to put it in the description. Y'all will be able to just click one link and get to his book and get to his website and to hear more all about the events that he has going on in the Detroit area. And y'all make sure you can support that. But Pathfinders, remember that sharing our experiences is not only empowering, it can help like the path.